There is a war happening right now, not in a battlefield, not in the streets, inside you. Every single day, people are testing how easily you can be moved, triggered, and ultimately or controlled. And the worst part? Most of them don't even fully realize they're doing it. It's instinctive, human, ancient. The strong have always sought leverage over the reactive, but here's what changed. In the old world, power came from physical dominance. Whoever had the biggest army, the sharpest sword, won. Today, the battlefield is emotional. Whoever controls your feelings controls your decisions. And whoever controls your decisions controls your life. This is not philosophy. This is the most practical truth you will encounter today. The people who dominate in silence, in relationships, in business, in every room they enter, they didn't get there through aggression. They got there by mastering one skill most people completely ignore: emotional discipline. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly how it works and how to use it. Part 1. The silent test. Let me describe something that has probably happened to you this week. You sent a message. You saw it was read. No reply came, and instantly, almost involuntarily, your mind started moving. Did I say something wrong? Are they upset? Did I come on too strong? Did I lose them? You checked your phone again. Still nothing. Your focus broke. Your mood shifted. Maybe you sent a follow-up, more casual this time, trying not to look like you cared. But you did care, and that's exactly what they were counting on. That silence wasn't an accident. It was a test, not always a malicious one. Sometimes people don't even consciously plan it, but whether they realize it or not, they were measuring something. How much control do I have over this person's emotions? And the moment you spiraled, the moment you chased, the moment you explained yourself unprompted, you answered that question for them. You handed over your power without a single word being exchanged. This is the silent test, and it runs constantly. In friendships, in relationships, in workplaces, in families, someone withdraws, goes cold, becomes distant, and then watches, not to be cruel necessarily, but to see, to understand the hierarchy, to know who has emotional authority. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We live in an attention economy, and attention is currency. The person who needs the other person's attention more loses. And the person who can sit in silence, unbothered, unshaken, unreadable, holds all the cards. This isn't cynical. It's simply how emotional power operates between human beings. The antidote isn't to become cold. It's to become anchored. When someone goes quiet, stay quiet too. Not as a counter manipulation, but because your peace doesn't depend on their reply. When someone withdraws to see if you'll chase, let them withdraw, not out of pride, but out of self-possession. The person who doesn't need to chase is the person who can't be controlled. When you stop scanning your phone waiting for validation, when you stop creating stories from silence, when you become genuinely comfortable in the absence of reaction, something shifts. You stop being a player in other people's emotional games. You become the observer, and observers see everything. The one who reacts first loses. The one who watches rewrites the game. Part 2. The weapon you never saw coming. Guilt. If silence is the first weapon of emotional control, guilt is the second. And it is far more dangerous because it disguises itself as love. It doesn't arrive loudly. It comes in soft, careful phrases. I thought you were different. I just expected more from you. You've changed, and not in a good way. After everything I've done, fine. It's okay. Don't worry about me. Harmless, right? Maybe even fair. No. These are precision instruments. Each one is designed to do the same thing: make you question yourself, make you feel that you have failed someone. And once that feeling takes root, once you believe you owe someone something you never actually agreed to give, you become easy to guide, predictable, manageable. Guilt is a leash disguised as a conscience. Here's what makes it so effective. It targets good people. It doesn't work on those who don't care. It works specifically on the ones who want to do right by others, who value loyalty, who fear being misunderstood or seen as selfish. It weaponizes your best qualities against you. Think about the last time you said yes when every instinct told you to say no. Think about the last time you apologized for something you weren't actually sorry about. Think about the last time you gave your energy to someone who left you emptier every time and still came back for more. You weren't weak in those moments. You were being decent. But decency without discernment is vulnerability. The manipulator doesn't need to threaten you. They just sigh. They grow quiet and hurt. They frame your boundary as a betrayal. And suddenly, you're not protecting your peace. You're defending it, explaining it, justifying it as if it requires their approval to be valid. It doesn't. Your no is complete without their understanding. Your boundary is real without their acceptance. Your peace doesn't need to be earned by someone else's permission. One of the most radical things a person can do in this world is simply stop explaining themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. Not with anger, not with coldness, just with quiet, unshakable clarity. When you stop needing others to agree that your limits are fair, they lose the ability to use guilt as leverage. Say no when you mean no. Let people be disappointed. Let them call you selfish. Let them walk away. Because the ones who only stay when you give everything they want were never really there for you. They were there for what they could extract. Guilt is not love. Love doesn't require you to shrink. Part 3. Why your calm is dangerous. Here's something counterintuitive that most people never figure out. The most unsettling thing you can do in a conflict is nothing. When someone insults you and you explode, they win. They provoked you. They read you. They now know exactly which button to press. But when someone insults you and you simply look at them steady and unbothered, they don't know what to do. Their script breaks down. The expected emotional feedback never comes, and without that feedback, their power dissolves. Calm is not passive. Calm is aggressive in the most strategic sense of the word. Think about the people in your life who unsettle you most. It's rarely the loud ones. The loud ones are easy to dismiss. It's the quiet, composed ones, the ones who never flinch, who never rush, who never seem rattled by what rattles everyone else. There's something magnetic and slightly intimidating about that kind of stillness. You can't read them. You can't predict them. You can't find the edge to push. That's the point. When you can be read, you can be manipulated. When you're predictable, you're manageable. But when you're calm, genuinely, deeply calm, you become an enigma. And enigmas are uncontrollable. The world will call you cold, distant, emotionless. Let them. What they actually need, underneath all of that, is simpler. I can't figure out how to get leverage on you. That's the complaint behind every accusation of being too calm. Now understand, this isn't about suppressing your emotions. That's not calm, that's numbness. And it will destroy you from the inside. True calm means you feel everything, but you choose what to do with those feelings. You don't let the wave carry you out to sea. You stand on the shore and watch it come and go. Anger is information. Fear is information. Jealousy, sadness, love, all information. The calm person doesn't kill those feelings. They study them. They ask, what is this emotion telling me? And then they decide deliberately how to respond. That pause and that small critical space between stimulus and response is where your power lives. Everything important happens in that gap. Storms destroy everything except what stands completely still at the center. Be the eye. Part 4. Emotional alchemy, turning weakness into weapon. There's a law that the most effective people in history understood intuitively, and that modern psychology has confirmed. Whoever controls your emotional triggers controls your behavior. This is why advertising is built on insecurity. why politics is built on fear, why manipulation in relationships is built on the need to be loved. The trigger is always the same and a feeling you haven't fully mastered. And until you master it, it's a door left unlocked. Most people live as emotional reactors. Something happens, they feel, they act. The whole sequence takes about 3 seconds, and by the end of it, they've said something they'll regret, given away information they shouldn't have, or made a decision that serves someone else's agenda. Strategic people interrupt that sequence, not by becoming robots, not by pretending feelings don't exist, but by inserting awareness between feeling and action, by asking, in that charged moment, is this reaction mine, or was it designed for me? Because so much of what we react to, we were meant to react to. The provocative comment was crafted to provoke. The withdrawal was calculated to make you chase. The cold shoulder was staged to make you warm up with apology. These are emotional traps, and the only way out of a trap is to see it before you step into it. When you feel anger rising, don't perform it, study it. Where is it coming from? What does it reveal about what you value, what you fear, what you need? Anger is almost always a signal pointing at something deeper, a boundary crossed, a fear triggered, a need unmet. Get curious about it instead of captive to it. When you feel fear, don't freeze or flee, follow it. Fear is usually a map pointing directly at the thing that matters most to you. The courageous person isn't fearless. They just refuse to let fear make decisions for them. When you feel the desperate need to explain yourself, justify your choices, prove your worth to someone who keeps doubting it. Pause. Ask yourself honestly, am I trying to communicate or am I trying to earn approval I haven't gotten and probably won't? Most of the time, the honest answer reveals the trap. This is emotional alchemy. You take the raw material of your own reactive feelings, the anger, the guilt, the neediness, the fear, and instead of letting them run you, you refine them into something useful. Fuel, information, strategy. The world can only control what it can trigger. Master your triggers, and you master your world. Part 5. Building the fortress. At some point, emotional mastery stops being about individual battles and becomes about architecture. You stop asking, how do I handle this specific situation? And start asking, what kind of emotional environment am I building inside myself? And who am I giving access to it? Most people treat their inner world like a public space. Anyone can walk in. Anyone can leave their mood at the door. Anyone with a bad day gets to turn yours bad too. Anyone who's angry gets to make you anxious. Anyone who withdraws gets to make you desperate. That is not sensitivity. That is a complete lack of internal sovereignty. Building an emotional fortress doesn't mean building walls against life. It means developing the discernment to decide what enters you and what doesn't. The first layer is clarity, learning to distinguish between what deserves your attention and what is simply noise. Most of what disturbs people's peace on a daily basis is noise. A sideways comment, a vague text, an ambiguous expression, someone else's unprocessed emotion bleeding onto you. Clarity asks, does this actually require a response, or am I just uncomfortable with uncertainty? Most of the time, it's the latter. The second layer is detachment, the ability to care without absorbing. You can love someone without carrying their suffering in your body. You can be present for someone's pain without taking it on as your own. Detachment isn't coldness. It's the difference between a doctor who cares deeply about their patient and a doctor who collapses because their patient is struggling. Compassion from a stable foundation helps people. Enmeshment helps no one. The third layer is preemption, choosing your emotional state before the world chooses it for you. Every morning is an opportunity to set the tone for your inner day, not by pretending everything is fine, but by consciously deciding what lens you'll use. How you begin determines how you respond when things get difficult. The fourth layer is self-respect as non-negotiable, which means you stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable.
You stop explaining your boundaries to people who use your explanations as ammunition. You stop chasing understanding from those who have decided to misunderstand you, not with bitterness, just with clarity. And the final layer is consistency under pressure, because every fortress gets tested. The people who once had access to your reactions will try again. They'll find new angles, new provocations, new silences. They'll call you cold when you don't chase. They'll call you arrogant when you don't crumble. They'll keep trying until they accept that the door is genuinely closed. Hold the line. Rebuild every time. Get quieter with every test. Eventually, the tests become less frequent. Not because people become kinder, but because you stop being an interesting target. There's no reaction to extract, and extracting reactions was always the entire point. Part 6. Sustaining the power. Here's the part no one tells you. Emotional mastery is not a destination you reach and then relax into. It's a practice, a daily, deliberate, ongoing choice to return to your center every time something or someone tries to drag you away from it, because the world doesn't stop testing you once you've gotten good at this. If anything, the tests get subtler, more sophisticated, because now the people around you can't move you with obvious tactics, so they switch to quieter ones. A well-timed compliment that's actually a manipulation. Praise that's really a setup. A vulnerability shared only to be used later. You'll still feel the pull sometimes. You'll still have moments where anger rises faster than your awareness. You'll still catch yourself mid-spiral, having created a whole story from a glance. That's not failure, that's being human. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is recovery speed. How quickly can you return to your center once you've been moved? How fast can you catch yourself in the reaction before it becomes a behavior? How soon can you look at a situation with clarity instead of charge? That recovery time shortens with practice. Not because you become less sensitive, but because you become more aware. There's a man I once heard described who worked at the highest levels of negotiation, international deals, high-stakes rooms, enormous pressure. He was asked once how he stayed so steady when everything around him was chaos. His answer was simple. I decided a long time ago that my emotional state was mine. Not the situation's, not the other person's, mine. And I guarded accordingly. That's not coldness, that's ownership. When you own your emotional state, you set the temperature in every room you enter, not by force, by presence. People feel something different around someone who cannot be rattled. There's a gravity to it, a quiet authority that commands without demanding. Composure, in a world addicted to emotional chaos, is genuinely rare. And rarity commands attention. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Your stillness speaks louder than their noise. At some point after all of this, the tests, the silence, the guilt trips, the provocations, the games, you begin to see something clearly that took time to understand. Life was never trying to break you. It was training you. Every person who went quiet to see if you'd chase, they were teaching you self-possession. Every person who tried to guilt you into shrinking, they were teaching you where your real values lived. Every manipulation that almost worked, it revealed a place where you still had work to do, and now you see the games for what they are. You see silence not as rejection, but as information. You see emotional provocation not as a threat, but as an invitation, one you can decline. You see manipulation as a kind of desperation, a need for control from someone who has none over themselves. And from that vantage point, everything becomes clearer, calmer, more deliberate. You don't react. You respond when you choose to. You don't chase. You remain grounded in yourself. You don't perform strength. You simply have it, quietly, unmistakably. That is the end of the emotional game. Not because the game stops and the world will keep playing it, but because you're no longer a willing participant in games you didn't choose to enter. You've moved from being controlled to being sovereign, from reacting to deciding, from emotional chaos to emotional command. And the most powerful thing about that, you didn't win by dominating anyone. You won by mastering yourself. That's the only victory that lasts. If this hit you, leave this below as your declaration. I don't react to the world. I design how I move through it.